Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian Suspense book series, which is titled Never As It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app for free. Not only that, but I do have another book series, which is the Juliet Clark book series, which is about a Haitian American teen sleuth who happens to be a true crime YouTuber. The first book in the series is titled Murderer at Heart. The links will be in the description box below if you're interested. Today I'll be discussing the solved Craigslist murder. Before I researched this case, I just assumed that this case would be deadlier than it actually was. Like, only one murder took place, and I always assumed that this was some sort of killing spree. Still, it's very disheartening that someone did lose their life, and this case is just wild overall. Cases like this one is why I'm always a bit nervous about online or app services. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. So, the Craigslist murder actually had an actual name. His name was Philip Markoff, and he was born on February 12th, 1986, in Sherrill, New York, to parents Richard and Susan Markoff. I know that Philip had a brother named Jonathan and a sister from his mother's second marriage. Now, Philip, he grew up in this well to do family. He was known as a guy who was intelligent. He took part in the National Honor Society and joined other extracurricular activities like the History Club, the Youth Court, whatever that is. And he was also a part of the bowling and golf team at his school. After graduating high school, he attended college as a pre-med major. After graduating college, he did attend a med school in Boston. Now, while he was volunteering at a hospital during his undergraduate years, he met a Megan McAllister. So they became friends, they began to date, and eventually they got engaged after he got into med school. Philip seemed to have had a successful future ahead of him, but no one in his life knew that he had dark tendencies. Now, on April 10th in 2009, there was this woman named Trisha Leffler who was an escort, and she posted her services on Craigslist. Now, I think Craigslist is still a thing. Like, if you don't know what Craigslist is, basically, you know how like Facebook Marketplace has your little stuff. That's what I would just, you know, compare it to. It was Facebook Marketplace before Facebook Marketplace was Facebook Marketplace, if that makes any sense. So she posted her services on Craigslist, and she agreed to meet with a customer at the Westin Hotel in Boston. When her customer entered into the hotel room, Trisha was met with this horrific surprise. Her customer pulled a gun on her. Now, this customer was none other than Philip Markoff. He tied up a terrified Trisha and robbed her even of her underwear. What's weirder than that, well, not weirder, but what's also weird is that he didn't cover his face like most criminals who pull a gun on somebody and rob them do. He didn't have anything to cover his face, and he didn't even wear gloves when he wiped his phone number off of Trisha's phone. So, if Trisha were to survive this, police would have, even if she even if worse came to worse, like, the police still would have been able to, dust off those fingerprints. But thankfully, after Philip left, she was able to free herself. And I can only imagine, you have this guy who's not covering his face. I could imagine that Trisha thought that she was actually gonna die that night, but praise the Lord, that did not come into fruition, and after she escaped, she checked the hallway to see if he was completely gone, then called for help. Now, when she did call the police, I would have to say that it's a blessing that even though, Trisha's career wasn't moral, the police did take this situation very seriously. And, with people in Trisha's line of work, I don't usually hear stories like that where the police would take a crime like this, very seriously. And I'm sad to say that. Let me be clear, not sad to say that the police wouldn't take her case seriously, but it's sad that I don't hear many stories like that. So, a few days go by. It's April 14th of 2009, and sadly, things have turned fatal. There was this woman named Jalissa Brisman who was an aspiring model and actress who was known as a woman who was full of happiness and was very optimistic. She also made a post on Craigslist offering sexual services at the Marriott Hotel. I'm going to try to make this a very quick disclaimer. When you research this case, it will say that Jalissa offered sexual or sensual massages, and not to disrespect Jalissa at all. Like for me, like whenever I'm not doing the true crime thing, whenever I'm not doing the self-publishing author thing, I am actually studying to be a massage therapist. And let me just tell you that massage, at least professional massage, what I'm studying to do is not intended to be sexual or sensual. Pretty much, professional massage is to help those body aches and actually be a stress reliever and not relieve stress in a very sexual or sensual way. So I don't want you guys to just leave this video with this bad idea of what massage is. So let's get back to Jalissa. And police believe that when Markov approached Jalissa, she was held by a gun, and when Markov attempted to tie her up, Jalissa, she was a fighter, and she fought to the end, and sadly, that fighting spirit wasn't enough to save her life. The next day, the police, who had a picture of Markov wearing a hat during the previous crime from the previous hotel security cameras, contacted Trisha, who was the first victim, showing her a clearer picture of Markov from the Marriott hotel cameras, informing Trisha that Philip's second victim was killed. Since no one knew Markov's name, and since they didn't know that he was the killer, he was just known as the Craigslist killer to the police and even to the media. Now, on April 16th, 2009, a Cynthia Melton, who was an exotic dancer, offered her services on Craigslist and met with Markov at a Holiday Inn at Warwick, Rhode Island. Like his previous victims, he pulled a gun on a frightened Cynthia, then started looking through her room. Thankfully, her phone was able to go off. Then Markov, he began to get nervous, asking who was calling her and why. So this call actually came from her husband, who I was surprised to hear was her business partner. Like, why you are a man who is okay with your wife sexually dancing for men, I don't know. I can't fathom it. But at least he had the decency to call his wife and check up on her. Since she wasn't picking up, Cynthia's husband began to walk to the hotel room. When her husband entered the room, Markov pulled a gun on him, and her husband bolted out of there. Then Markov bolted the opposite direction. Now, a friend of Jalissa's informed police, after, all of this mess came to be. Thankfully, Cynthia was unharmed. But, a friend of Jalissa's informed police that she emailed Philip before her death, and they were able to track him down. So on April 20th, 2009, Philip Markoff and his fiancée Megan were on their way to a casino in Connecticut when the police arrested him in Massachusetts. So at first, Megan didn't believe that her, fiance did what he was being charged with, which I get where, she's coming from. Like, she's in love with this man, she's engaged to this man. Like, Markoff was this med student, and as a med student, you're supposed to be having this desire to help people, not to rob, assault, and kill people. So he, especially with how intelligent he was and having this bright future, he just didn't seem like the type of person who would be this insane criminal. But when all of the evidence came out against him, she ended things with him, rightfully so. So the trial was set for March 2011, and Philip even pled not guilty when all of the evidence was clearly against him. But Philip Markoff would not face trial since he killed himself in August 15th, 2010. Now, I really don't understand how the police didn't have him on suicide watch 24/7 or even make sure that he had nothing to kill himself with, because he actually attempted to kill himself like 3 times before, so I would assume that he would be on this like high supervision, but what's done is done. Now you might be wondering why Philip Markoff would just toss his promising future away. Well, Markoff had these sexual fantasies, and obviously he lacked self control, allowing these disgusting fantasies to cause harm to others. He also had this gambling habit and had debts to pay off, which was why he was attempting or even robbing his victims. Even though I don't agree with the career choices these women made, it's still no excuse as to why Markoff attacked them, even killing one of these women. Two of them are scarred for life, and the other had her life taken away from her so soon. I understand that people think Markoff took the quote unquote easy way out, but let me remind you that there is a God, and He is a God of justice. I'm positive that God made sure that justice was served. I thank you all for taking the time here today to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you'd like to go ahead and share your thoughts on this case, please leave your thoughts in the comments section. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for the next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.